What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Run the North podcast. As you can see here, it's just me and Miller today. It is just me and Miller. We do not have Geek this week. It's unfortunate, but we're going to move on. Today, we're going to do what we always do. We are going to be breaking down Week 13, talking about all the games going game by game, and we are going to be picking and previewing Week 14. But before we do all that, we're going to listen to the viewer hot takes that you guys have given us. We're going to react to those. And of course, we'll give you an update on the pick leaderboard and the fantasy league. But before we get into all that, Miller, how we doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about these I got new blue light glasses, and I'm trying to figure out how I feel about these.
Okay.
Because the more I look at them, the more they give me Grayson vibes, and I hate that.
Womp, womp.
But like they're working beautifully, and they're like crystal clear. So it's like, do I want the broken glasses that have become almost I don't want to say a character trait, but like synonymous with me, or do I want to rock the good ones that work?
Okay. That's an update in the life of Miller football, I suppose.
Yeah, that's how my life's going. And all of my free time is taken up by fullback film and working for finals.
Two
So
very important things in a
yes,
man's
of
life.
course.
So,
Although my
yes.
NFL Plus subscription ran out, so now I'm having to scour Twitter to get my
The all 22
fullback
for
film.
fullbacks. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Are you throwing in a Lipke block here and then 25 days of fullback
At
blocks?
some point,
Okay,
absolutely.
sweet. All right. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna open the show with you guys' viewer hot takes. We reached out on Twitter, got some hot takes from you guys, and we're gonna go through all of them and react to them. So we're gonna start off with the first hot take from our boy NFL Steven. And he says Jordan Love is top 15 quarterback. Now, based on the QB rankings that you put out today, he's number 17, which is
Yeah.
pretty close to what Steven's saying here. I think I haven't done my list officially, but I think I agree. I think top 15 is perfectly reasonable for him right now.
I think it's a little too rich, but I'm also not gonna like throw a hissy fit if you don't have him outside of the top 15.
Mhm.
Like I think it's definitely reasonable. He's been playing very good football, and I know you've made fun of me for calling Jordan Love a game manager. You know, you got to remember when I call somebody a game manager, it's not necessarily derogatory. I believe game manager is a term that we need to reclaim as NFL fans and remember that it can be a positive. And I think Jordan Love is kind of like playing at the highest tier a game manager can play. And again, that's not a slight. That's like high praise because it's more than I would have expected out of him this year. I would have expected him to more step into like a almost like a Jared Goff type of game manager where there's a lot of inconsistencies and some errant decisions and whatnot. Not because I think Jordan Love is an inconsistent quarterback, but just because it's his first full year starting. And I didn't have a lot of confidence in the offensive weapons in Green Bay, but they've played very well. So yeah, I mean it's perfectly reasonable to say Love is a top 15 quarterback, as much as I hate to say it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think I would tend to agree. I have to actually do my list, but I think the way Love's been playing now,
Mhm.
I think I could put him there.
Yeah, he's been driving the bus and then some the past couple
Yeah,
weeks.
love to see it. Um,
Mhm.
this one from Hammy. If they play against Atlanta or Detroit, the Packers will win a playoff game. Yeah, I agree with the Atlanta one for sure. I think the current Packers will
Yeah,
smack the garbage out of the Falcons. I do
yeah.
not know about if they could do the Lions what they did to them on Thanksgiving again, especially
A
on the road.
playoff game in Detroit
Yeah, I
where
don't know
Detroit
about
gets.
this one.
When was the last time Detroit hosted a playoff game? What's it been? 30 years at least.
Something like that.
Like
Yeah.
whoever the Lions play in the first round, unless they get like Dallas, which isn't going to happen because that'll be an AFC or an NFC South team that gets stuck with Dallas. Um, but unless they get stuck with a team like that, like the vibes
Hmm.
in Detroit are going to be absurd, and they're going to be playing their asses off.
Hmm.
So I don't think I would confidently say the Packers would waltz in and beat the Lions on the road in the playoffs. It's possible. It would be a damn good ball game. but I'd probably still lean Detroit just because of how much they'd have riding on the game. Whereas Green Bay, sure, they're underdogs now, but it wouldn't mean as much to them, right? Football sometimes
Mhm.
just comes down to who wants it more, and the Lions, as much as I hate to say it, want it more than anybody right now.
Mhm.
So
True. Yeah.
that being said, their defense would have to have a hell of a game because it is horrific.
Yeah, I think the answer to your question is I don't think they ever have hosted a playoff game. They haven't won one since the '80s,
So I was thinking the
and
last time
so
they played in a playoff game, and even then I was off. It was
yeah,
40 years,
yeah, it's been a
and
long
they've never
time
hosted
since
it.
the
Right.
Lions mid.
So,
Yeah,
like, just from a Packers fan perspective, imagine you have to go into Ford Field the first time the Lions are ever hosting a playoff game with Dan Campbell as the head coach. That sounds like the single most hostile environment a team could walk into.
yeah.
Especially considering they mollywopped him on Thanksgiving, which is supposed to be Detroit's day of the year, even though it's not, and they are
Well,
consistently awful on
well,
Thanksgiving.
yeah. I don't know about that one.
But they think it is. They think it's theirs. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I know that kind of seems like a casual answer, and there's no like real analytics to back it up or whatever. But like sometimes football comes down to not the X's and O's, but the Jimmies and Joes, and like that's a situation where I feel like that would matter a lot.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. Um, this next one. Oh.
Uh,
I'm not gonna say who gave this one. But Stroud has played better than Mahomes this season. Um,
I'm not answering it.
yeah, I don't. But I've had enough CJ Stroud discourse for today.
No, I'm not responding to this asshole. I've had enough today too.
We
Much love to CJ Stroud. CJ
yeah,
Stroud has been incredible this year. Not engaging with this individual that asked this
yes.
question.
This Stroud take, however, is from a different person, and
Wonderful.
it's that
This one I will
Stroud,
happily engage
and
with.
his take is that Stroud has been a top 3 QB this season.
This season, in
Yeah,
this season alone,
yeah.
I don't disagree.
Mm,
I'd have to think
mm,
about it a little bit to say like I'm 100% on board, but like on paper, who's been better? Dax had a better year.
yeah,
Lamar, even though statistically
Lamar.
Lamar's not there, Lamar has just been Baltimore's offense. He's been awesome this year. Like you look at Mahomes, he's having a down year by his standards, which by the way, people are forgetting a down year by Mahomes' standards is still like a top 3, top 5 quarterback year,
Yeah,
which is so funny. And I feel
yeah.
like not enough people are acknowledging that.
No, probably not. Yeah.
Hurts is having a down year.
Mm.
Josh Allen's been up and down. Herbert's played fine, but his supporting cast has been a supporting cast.
Oh, I hate them
Yeah,
so
Burrow's
so.
hurt. Like I would say confidently that Stroud's had a top 5 season among quarterbacks,
Mhm.
and I could definitely entertain top 3 among quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I think that I don't know. Top 3 might be a bit of a stretch for me, but I think top 5 is perfectly reasonable. I mean,
Yeah,
he is a legitimate MVP contender,
certainly.
and as a rookie, that's absolutely insane. Because, like, I don't know, like, I wasn't too into NFL discourse when this happened, but I feel like Justin Herbert was not in MVP talks when he did what he did in his rookie season. Maybe I'm wrong because I
No,
wasn't
but
really
I
on NFL
think that
Twitter.
was also was that not the year that Mahomes had 50 some touchdowns?
That might have been. That might have been the year. I
That it
forget.
was very close because I was the
Yeah.
same way. I wasn't super in
Yeah,
NFL
so I don't
Twitter.
really remember if Herbert was getting the kind of MVP hype that Stroud is currently.
I'm sure he was from
But
Chargers fans.
this season, I feel like
But
Stroud's season isn't gonna be anywhere near as good as Herbert's was, right? Am I overestimating what Herbert did?
no, I don't think so. I mean, first game of the year, he came in on a 5 minutes notice and
Yeah,
went toe to toe with Mahomes, took the Chargers to overtime, and was consistently like not carrying, but elevating a not good Chargers team. Like, I think in terms of individual performance, Herbert had a better rookie year, but the Texans are probably going to go further than the Chargers did.
true.
So Stroud's rookie year will be looked upon more favorably just based
Yeah.
off that. But for those of us like ourselves who aren't big Windsor QB stat guys, I think Herbert's rookie year was probably a little bit better. And I think Andrew Luck had a better rookie year as well.
Yeah, because Herbert threw for 4,336, 31 touchdowns, 10 picks, which is insane for a rookie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stroud's been great and probably has been a top 3 QB this season. So, this is next. Oh, this is an interesting one because I don't think this name has been said on this podcast before.
Ooh.
But maybe we should give him his flowers. Demario Douglas is the most overperforming rookie wide receiver. The
I
most
love Pop
overperforming.
Douglas.
Listen, Demario Douglas is great. One of my favorite rookies to watch this year. But I think as far as overperforming goes, like Tank Dell's playing like a first round pick, or he was. Demario
I'll take
Douglas
it
has
even a
been
step
good,
further. If we're talking
but
about guys that are overperforming, it's Puka.
yeah, even Puka, yeah,
Like,
no, yeah,
I don't want to sound arrogant, but genuinely speaking, when it came to Puka, the only people I saw like legitimately like building him up in the offseason was like Theo. And then myself, I was a big Puka guy too. I wasn't nearly as high on him as Theo was, and I wasn't as high on him as I should have been. But like he had very low expectations. He was like
yeah.
I don't want to say injury prone, but like a banged up older wide receiver coming out of BYU that wasn't super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out and looked like Oploy Cooper Cup. Like,
Yeah, but like, I mean, like, if we did a redraft right now, I mean, he'd be on the other LA team probably. Like,
if he made it that far,
if he
yeah.
even made it that far, like
Yeah.
him and Tank Dell would both be locked first round picks. I think.
Yeah.
If they did a redraft, so I think
Now,
they're overperforming a bit more than Demario Douglas is.
I will say though, if we want to get into like hypotheticals and whatnot, I think Pop Douglas would have similar, if not higher, success than those two
If he
had
didn't,
he been put in the situations that they're in. Because I mean, Pop Douglas doesn't have a quarterback, he doesn't have an offensive coordinator, he doesn't have any other receivers that are competent to like take some of the attention off of him. So I absolutely I know who this is and I know what he's trying to say and I respect it, but it's hard to say he's overperforming when there's guys that were drafted in a similar range to him that or wait, when was Pop Douglas drafted?
6th round.
Puka was the 5th. What was Tank?
3rd.
What are Douglas's stats on the year?
Great
I know they're not going to be great because of the Patriots, but
it looks like he has 36 catches, 410 yards, no touchdowns. So
yeah,
far.
I think I'd still lean Puka, but an argument can definitely again, if you gave Pop like a competent quarterback, not even a good one, just a competent one,
I'm sure
I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure he could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting one. I think we have another Demario Douglas one coming up at some point too.
Love that.
Okay, this one from Justin Massey. Deontay Johnson is significantly better than George Pickens. I'm not even sure this is a hot take.
I don't think it is either, but I love to hear it.
Deontay Johnson doesn't care, but he's still a significantly better receiver than George Pickens. I don't know.
Look,
George Pickens is super one-dimensional.
He's
That's all he
one-dimensional,
does. Yeah.
and he's fun, and I get
He's
why
fun.
people get so
He's
excited
got good
about him, but
energy.
like,
He's fun.
he's not some elite route runner.
No.
He's not some elite separator.
No.
His hands are a little inconsistent. I know Deontay drops him was the thing, but like he's gotten better as his career's gone on with drops. And I know like the other big knock on Deontay is that he can't score, but like that's such a weird thing to put against a receiver. Like Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer and he didn't score a touchdown for like a year and a half. So like, that's whatever. But no, I think I would. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
I do too. Yeah. I like this one. From Riley, no QB this year is MVP worthy. Tyreek is the only one to win. I don't necessarily agree with the last part of the statement that he's the only one to win, but
And I
I
don't
do
necessarily
agree that
agree
it
with the
shouldn't be a
first half.
QB.
I think you have to put Dak in there.
I guess I do disagree technically because of his wording saying that no QB is worthy.
Right.
Dak is worthy.
Now, Tyreek is more worthy than any of the
Yes.
QBs. But if
Yeah.
we're like going by his exact wording, I disagree.
Yeah.
And also the second part I disagree with because CMC is my MVP, and I will die on this hill.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I fully believe Christian McCaffrey's been the most valuable player in football this year. I think based like I can go on my little tangent if you want, but I don't want to take up a ton of time.
Let me go for it, dude.
Okay, so like first of all, MVP award big thing is narratives, right? Every single MVP has some narrative on their side. What was the big discourse this offseason? All offseason.
Drew Lock's top 32 quarterback.
By real people that matter, not by Jacob discusses athletics.
I genuinely have no idea where you're going with this. I'm just going to let you take
Running
it.
backs don't matter.
Oh, yeah.
That
Sorry.
was the big conversation that was had.
Oh,
Running
my
backs don't matter. They don't deserve to be paid. They're not game changers. Christian McCaffrey comes out, scores a touchdown. What was it? 17 straight games?
Yeah.
He has 1,500 all-purpose yards. We're still in week 14, by the way. 1,500 all-purpose yards, double-digit touchdowns. He's been the best player on the 49ers offense consistently, and the 49ers are the best team in football. The best player on the best team in football is a running back after an offseason where the entire discussion was running backs don't matter anymore.
Yep.
In terms of narratives, nobody has it better than McCaffrey.
Nope.
And he has the numbers to back it up. He has the play to back it up. And if the Niners like continue this dominance and end up as the 1 seed in the NFC, which I absolutely believe is going to happen, then I think he's a lock. Now, the caveat to that is if Tyreek Hill hits 2K, it becomes very difficult to not give it to him. But there's no guarantee that happens. So we'll have to see. But right at this moment, if the season ended right this second, I think Christian McCaffrey is the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's either CMC or Tyreek. I think both of them should win it over Dak.
And I
think Dak's
love
having
that
a
we're
great
talking
year.
about non-quarterbacks,
Yeah.
dude. It makes me so happy.
No, I like it too. And I don't know, Tyreek hitting 2,000, I think, should make him a lock for the award. I mean, 2,000 yards. I mean, like I hate that Brock Purdy is the favorite for this award. And I hate that he's probably going to win it. Like there is a very good chance that in February, the week before the Super Bowl, someone is going to stand on that stage and they're going to say the name Brock Purdy for the MVP award.
And honestly, he doesn't deserve it, but I can't even be mad because that's just objectively funny.
It is funny. It is hilarious that he gets the MVP when he's probably the third or fourth most valuable player on his own team. But,
shout out Donnie who listed like 20 guys that are more valuable in the 49ers than Purdy.
Literally, dude, Purdy is like, I don't know. He's fine, I guess.
Listen, I like Purdy. I've come around on Purdy.
I have too. Yes, I think he's
Purdy
fine.
for what he is.
Yes.
But again, he's a game manager, not in a derogatory sense. But Purdy has like perfected the art of managing a game of football.
Yeah.
Like he's the ultimate Shanahan quarterback. At the end of the day, that's what he is.
Yeah.
And that's not an MVP. That's a distributor.
Yes. A guy who can score for 17 straight games and go for 2,000 all-purpose yards is the most valuable player. But yeah, I agree that a non-QB should win it. This one from Trev. I have a hot take. It's hard to do a Run the North podcast when the team currently running the North doesn't have a representative. Now listen, history tells us that the Lions have at no point run the North. Maybe this year is the year, but our teams have been running the North for years and
also
years
we tried to
and
find
years.
Lions fan, and no Lions fan content creators exist.
That, and we don't like any of the ones that do. So, I mean,
what ones exist that we don't like?
MMG. That's about it.
I like MMG.
Maybe he's changed, but I remember not liking him when I was younger. Maybe I was just a stupid.
I can see why a lot of people wouldn't. I fully understand it, but I think I'm just one of those people that's blinded by like, oh, I watched him when I was like 13, and he still makes videos about Madden, and I play Madden, so I might as well watch. And it's not like he's done anything illegal.
No.
He's one of the few YouTubers that hasn't done anything illegal. He said a lot of very questionable things, but nothing illegal.
Like genuinely, I think the reason why we don't have a Lions fan is just because this group, this trio of us, kind of just already existed without
Mhm.
one. Like we existed for so long without one, and so when the podcast idea was created, I'm not even sure there was a discussion about finding a Lions fan. It
There
was
was a very brief one.
maybe a very brief
So I
one, but
can't
like,
remember who, but someone was like, "Should we get a Lions fan?" It was like, "What Lions fan?" And then it ended.
and then once none of us could even fathom a Lions fan that existed and created content. It came to just being the three of us. But
Yeah.
maybe one day, if how about this? If the Lions win the division, okay, the week after the season ends, I guarantee you there will be a Lions fan on this podcast for one
You can't make
episode.
that guarantee. Oh,
Like
for one episode. Okay.
for one episode, I guarantee
Okay.
you the episode after the Lions win the division will be there'll be a Lions fan. I'll find one. I don't care who it is. I'll find one.
We will abduct one off the streets of Detroit.
Yes, and we will put them in on the podcast, and we will tell them exactly what to say, and they will have no freedom to do anything they want. We will tell them
All,
what to do.
all we got to do is get our people in contact with Eminem's people.
That's true. Like, we're like Jack Harlow, Tim Robinson's a Lions fan. I'm sure he'd be
Tim
down.
Robinson's a Lions fan?
Yeah, him and that one dude that's always in his skits were at the Lions game one week. And
That's
it's super
awesome.
awesome because I
I
love
didn't
Tim
see that.
Robinson.
That's awesome.
Having him on this show would be great. So maybe we'll get Tim Robinson after the Lions win the division. We'll have our
1,000
people.
likes on this episode, and we will get Tim Robinson on a
1,000
episode of Run the North at
and
some point in the
and
future.
if we don't, the show ends. That's the deal. That's the bet.
No.
If we don't, the show ends. 1,000,000 likes on this episode, and we kidnapped Tim Robinson live on camera. And
We kidnap Tim Robinson live on camera, bring him to our studio, and then we record us telling him to leave.
Tim, I think you should leave.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the
We
entire episode.
kidnap him and then kick him out.
Immediately, we're like, "Why are you here? This is not your show."
We gaslight him into believing he entered in his own volition.
He entered
And
in
then
his
we
own
kick him
volition
out.
and interrupted a very important podcast recording in our studio that definitely exists currently.
Certainly. The warehouse that Geek owns.
Yes, the warehouse that we know Geek owns. He won't tell us. We
Mhm.
know it's there. He won't tell us.
It's hidden.
It's kind of sad, honestly.
Mhm.
To be fair, if Geek ever gets his own offices, there could just be a studio for Run the North in those offices.
There could be.
That I don't want to live in Wyoming though. We should make him move it. We
We
should make him move it somewhere else.
move to civilization.
We should somewhere that has people would be fantastic for both of us. This one also comes from Trev, who I believe is a Lions fan, but he says Lions find a way to fumble the division, but still manage to win a playoff game against whoever wins the North.
I could see that.
I don't know who they'd fumble it to because I don't trust the Packers quite yet, and Josh Dobbs is terrible.
What's Green Bay at right now?
6-6, same record. As
Okay,
the
never
Vikings.
mind. I thought Green Bay was at like.
But also, let me just remind you of the Packers' upcoming schedule. The Packers, to finish out the season, this is who they have: the Giants, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Vikings, Bears.
Well, the Bears are running the table, so.
Okay, well, I don't
imagine that's what the North comes down to. The Lions fumble the bag at an astronomical level.
You want to know?
Week 18, Green Bay, Chicago for the division.
What my absolute nightmare situation is we just get into a situation with the Bears in Week 18 that we were with the Lions, where if we beat them, we're in the playoffs, but if we lose, we're not, and then the Bears beat us. That's my absolute nightmare situation right now, is the Bears playing spoiler in Week 18, which could totally happen. But, yes.
All right, I guess I'm going to stall. So with Green Bay at 6-6, I don't see them necessarily taking over the North. I guess it could happen, but I don't foresee the Lions losing 3 to 4 games, and I don't necessarily see the Packers winning out. I'm not saying I think they're both playoff caliber teams right now in the NFC, but
well, yeah,
I don't think Green Bay will overtake Detroit.
No, Um. Oh, okay. This is a spicy one. Actually, I don't know if it is. Even if you replace Justin Fields, the Bears won't be good for another 3+ years.
If Caleb Williams and or Drake May are what they're supposed to be. Again, I haven't watched any legitimate film on either player, so I'm talking purely off vibes and what I've heard from the streets, right? If they're what they're supposed to be, then no. Because Chicago's infrastructure right now, outside of coaching, which is going to be addressed, is great. The defensive talent from top to bottom, criminally underrated. We have seen over the past 3 weeks that the Bears defense can be legit. It's only going to get better. They still have top 5, top 10 cap room in the league with a lot of big names slated to hit the open market. Like a big example of that, the Dolphins just re-signed, is it Alaric Jackson, the right tackle?
Austin Jackson.
Austin Jackson. They
Yeah.
just re-signed Austin Jackson. They also have
Mhm.
to worry about their center and Christian Wilkins. Both guys that would be immediate upgrades in Chicago, and I don't know if Miami can pay both of them. So one of those guys could end up in Chicago. Josh Allen slated to hit the market. Justin Madubuike slated to hit the market. Not saying it's going to happen, obviously, but
They're all
the Bears
Bears.
the Bears would have the money to bring those guys in. You go out, you get a guy like Caleb or like Drake May, if they are what they're
Mhm.
supposed to be, they're
Mhm.
coming in their rookie year. They have a legit run game they can rely on. They have a
Mhm.
legit offensive line in front of them. All they need is a center. And again, you can address that in free agency, or from what I'm understanding, there's pretty good like day 2, day 3 talent at center in this class. So
Yeah.
maybe you draft one. You get that figured out. You get a competent coach in the building, Matt Eberflus. I know there's a lot of people kind of questioning whether or not he's going to be back now that the defense is
See ya.
competent. I can tell you
See
right now, he
ya.
is gone.
See
If for
ya.
nothing else, the Bears have completely whiffed on expectations.
Mhm.
Matt Eberflus hired multiple staff members who had to be fired for inappropriate workplace conduct, which is not a good thing. And Kevin Warren is taking over all football operations.
Mhm.
Kevin Warren has no ties to Matt Eberflus. He's going to fire Matt Eberflus, probably get a Big Ten guy to come in that's not Jim Harbaugh,
Mhm.
or just go out and get a hot.
It
It
might be
won't
Jim Harbaugh.
it won't be
It
Harbaugh because he hates Harbaugh. I'm not saying it won't be Harbaugh because I dislike Harbaugh. I just don't see Warren and Harbaugh being able to form a professional relationship.
fair.
That's the only reason I say that.
Fair.
I would welcome Harbaugh with open arms.
You
He
should.
would be the best coach the Bears have had in the past 10 years.
You
Like,
should. Yes.
yeah. So that wasn't a slight at Harbaugh by any means, but whoever it is, right? The Bears they have good infrastructure roster wise. They're going to get new coaches. I think Ryan Poles has proven that he is at least a competent general manager and has been able to make the tough decisions and big moves that have paid massive dividends. You look at the 3 biggest moves he's made. Trading away Khalil Mack was a necessity. I know that's kind of played out poorly to some people because Khalil Mack's leading the league in sacks right now. There was no chance he could stay in Chicago. That had
No.
to happen. That was
Mhm.
the reason I bring that up is because that's a tough move to make as your first move as a general manager. To
Yes.
walk into a building and say, hey, this guy that this team traded 2 first round picks for like 2 years ago and has been the face of the team since, we got to get him out of here.
Yeah.
He's not part of my future plans. That's a tough move. To go out and trade for DJ Moore, who has been one of the best receivers in football despite poor quarterback play, that was
Mhm.
an incredible move. To go out and get Montez Sweat at the trade deadline, extend him 3 days later, and your defense to go from one of the worst in the league jumping up to one of the best because of
Mhm.
his addition, completely revamping your pass rush, and still having the opportunity to add another edge opposite him at some point. Incredible move. I'm not
Mhm.
saying Ryan Poles is like the best GM in football, but he has made big time moves that have paid good dividends. He's drafted well. I really like what he's doing. If Kevin
Mhm.
Warren sees what I see with Ryan Poles, which I would imagine he does because Kevin Warren obviously knows more ball than I do. Um,
I suppose.
if he wants to, I would hope. We'll put it that way. I would hope
Yes. Mhm.
that duo can bring in a good head coach, can figure out the rest of that staff. And if they just go out and make the easy pick, whichever quarterback they view better, allegedly that's Caleb Williams. Again, I can't say for sure. Then I don't think
Mhm.
you can say the Bears are guaranteed to suck for the next 3 years. It would have to be a
Fair.
nightmare scenario where Carolina wins out, the Bears get like the 5th pick, and they have to take JJ McCarthy,
Mhm.
or they have to stick with Fields.
Right.
That would be like, yeah, the Bears are fucked. But
Fair.
This individual said getting rid of Fields anyways. So the Bears would have to be stuck with like McCarthy or Bo Nix or whoever else to be in that situation. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a lot, but
No, I would tend to agree. I think. I don't know. I mean, people thought the Bears were going to be good this year.
yeah,
Like, they were wrong, but some people thought the Bears were going to be good this year. And Caleb Williams is phenomenal, and Drake May is really good. And even if they get one of the day two guys like Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy, those guys are good. Like Bo Nix is a good quarterback, and JJ McCarthy can be a good like game manager in the right system. I don't know if the Bear system is the right system for him because the system's
we
going to
don't
be
know what the
different by
Bears
the
system's
time
going to
we get to
be.
that point. So
Yeah,
I can't say if it's good for him or not. But yeah, and I think that the Bears will be probably good next year. If not next year, definitely the year after.
yeah, the Bears are going to be a competitive football team within the next 2 years,
Yeah, for sure.
assuming all goes well.
For
Things that
sure.
have to go catastrophically wrong for that to be different.
Mhm.
I promise this isn't delusion.
You ready to hear Geek's hot take?
Absolutely, I'm
All right.
scared.
Geek's hot take is that we do hot takes without him because we agree on too many things and are both way too nice, so you don't get into big debates.
We do hot
Uh,
takes without Geek because we need to fill time because we don't have Geek yapping.
that is legitimately the reason. Okay, he's gonna come after us. I'm gonna come after him. Geek is fluent in Japanese. Okay, he knows this. He understands this. I'm sure he wouldn't disagree with me
Listen,
if he
listen.
was here right now. And,
I've never heard Japanese before. That is incredible.
and and so because of this, when Geek isn't here, the, the episodes would be like 45 minutes to an hour. If, if we didn't do something to fill the time. And so we tend to do mailbags or viewer hot takes to fill time because we don't have Geek in here talking our ears off. It's such a stupid word, dude. It's such a stupid word. Oh god.
Bro,
Yeah,
I'm over
but
here giggling.
that is the reason why we
I'm
do them.
sorry. Hold on.
He's
I
gonna
gotta
come
know.
after us. We're gonna come. Yeah, what's up?
Did you come up with Japanese or did you steal that from somewhere?
Uh, I said it once in my youth group, and now a bunch of the kids use it, and so it's become a
Oh my
pretty
god.
permanent part of my
That's
vocabulary.
incredible.
But
Jake, that is the
yeah.
funniest thing you have ever said.
Yeah, it's that's the reason is because Geek talks so much and we had to fill time without him.
And
So
listen, I'm not innocent here either. I'm the same way.
yeah.
I'm just a little more passive when it comes to my yapping. I know
Yes. He knows
when to cut.
slow it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean there was the
Which
time last week where me and Miller went on for like 5 minutes straight about trying to trade away St. Louis and Houston for
that
Tijuana.
wasn't even a tangent. That was a
That was
legitimate
just funny.
conversation.
Yeah, we
That
were we
was
were having a good
positive
time. We
analysis
were
as
having
far
a
as
good
I'm
time.
concerned.
Yeah, we were trying to help the country and Geek was
But yeah,
trying to stop us.
and again, none of this is a direct shot at Geek. It's just
Yeah,
we have
no,
a quota for time.
we
We
do.
have to fill it,
Yes.
and this is our way of doing that. One of these during the off season, we will have a 2-hour long episode where it is just the three of us going over hot takes. When we
Literally.
have nothing else to talk about, we will 100%
Yeah.
do that happily.
Yes. I think after
Absolutely.
that though, we should get into some big blowout fight over one of these takes just to prove them wrong.
Oh yeah.
Um, this one comes from our good friend Nicole, and she says the Cowboys will make it back to the NFC Championship game this season, and I agree. I think they're better than Philadelphia. They have a better quarterback
Yeah,
right now.
with
I
how he's been playing, absolutely.
and like CeeDee Lamb and AJ Brown. I know that AJ Brown is better, but their stats are like
It's
identical.
weird. Yeah.
They're identical. Like
Yeah.
CD Lamb is not getting the credit that he has deserved this year, I fear.
Hmm.
And that Cowboys defense is really good. And I don't know. I think that I don't know because it could be Philly and Dallas in the right situation in the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still don't know. You're a big Niners guy, so and I still don't know if the Cowboys can beat the Niners. So if they run into them in the divisional round, I think it's probably Kirk over.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can pull like Philly or like Philly in the divisional round, I can't see
Just
anybody else beating Philly really
yeah.
than the Niners. And I don't know what the situation will be, but I think in the right situation, the Cowboys can definitely beat the Eagles. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as they don't draw the Niners in the divisional round, they should be into the NFC Championship game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many problems with the Eagles that are starting to kind of manifest as the season goes on. Like, obviously, you mentioned Jalen Hurts hasn't been Jalen Hurts. And I don't know if that's a mental thing. I know a lot of it is Brian Johnson's play calling, which just hasn't worked. And then
Mhm.
another thing that's a result of Brian Johnson's play calling is their run game went from the best in football to it does not exist anymore, primarily because they do not run the football. But I mean, you're a DeAndre Swift guy. I'm not a DeAndre Swift guy. Even I will acknowledge they need to run his ass more because
Yes.
DeAndre Swift was
Yes.
like he was playing good football at the
Mhm.
start of the year for the first half of the year, and as of late, they're just not giving him the football. And defensively, obviously, we'll talk about it more when we get to the Niners and Eagles game. But like their
Mhm.
linebacker core is horrific. I know they just
Oh,
added Shaq Leonard. That doesn't fix it. That's a band aid.
wow.
The Eagles secondary as a whole has been very inconsistent. There's been some injuries, like Darius Slay right now is dealing with a lingering knee thing. Like there's a lot of weaknesses with this once impenetrable Philadelphia football team. Whereas the Dallas Cowboys, who I went on record saying I didn't see many weaknesses with in the offseason, have been on a tear. And then, of
Mhm.
course, the Niners and the Niners. So, yeah, I really do think it's a 3-team race in the NFC right now for me. And that's
Yeah,
not a shot at
pretty
anybody
clearly.
else. It's just how freaking amazing Philly, Dallas, and San Fran are.
Yeah.
So it kind of, like you said, it depends on what Dallas gets matchup wise, because I don't think they'll end up winning the NFC East.
No,
Just because
no.
Philly has such a,
And they
I
won't
guess
get
it
the
is
one
only a
seed either,
game
so it won't
lead,
there won't be like a bye thing. Um,
right?
but like I don't think Detroit can beat Dallas, and
None of the
nobody
NFC South
nobody from
teams
the
are
NFC
beating
South is going
Dallas.
to
The
beat
Packers
Dallas.
aren't beating Dallas.
The Packers aren't beating Dallas. The Vikings, if they somehow slip in with Josh Dobbs, would get, I mean, obliterated by
The
Dallas.
Rams and Seahawks. Well, the Seahawks almost beat Dallas,
The
but I don't see that
Seahawks
happening again.
competed, but it just feels like it was a pretty fluky game from their offense. We'll talk about it more. I
Hmm.
don't know if they can consistently do what they did to Dallas
Yeah,
on offense. That was the first time we've ever seen their offense look at that good
because
this year.
I mean, I'll save it. I'll save it.
Um, yeah. So we got like four more. Let's see. The Lions are only good because they have no holes. They don't have any great players. Everyone's just mediocre, so it works.
Well, defensively, it is riddled with holes. That defense is Swiss cheese.
Yeah, they they
Um,
they ha- they got some holes on defense. They got
yeah,
some holes on defense. Let's be real.
offensively, I think saying mediocre is underselling a lot of that talent offensively. Like, I'm not even the world's biggest Amon-Ra St.
I
Brown
mean,
fan.
yeah, but
He's
I wouldn't
above
call
mediocre.
him
He's
mediocre. I
a
wouldn't call
damn good receiver.
either of Monty or Gibbs
Nope.
mediocre.
Yeah, I was
Laporta
just about to say
isn't
David Montgomery's
mediocre.
not mediocre. Sam
Laporta has
Laporta is
been
not
the best rookie
mediocre.
tight end by a mile.
That offensive line's been great, or is
Maybe,
great.
maybe there's a guy who individually on that line is mediocre, but that unit as a whole
Yeah.
is far above that.
The only mediocre parts of their offense is like Goff and the other receivers.
But even then,
Goff is actually
like,
mediocre's disrespecting Goff. Goff is above average. I'm going to say that with my chest since Geek
yes,
isn't here to yell at me.
it's
Goff
true.
is a
Yes.
solid quarterback.
When are you guys gonna stop saying Goff is good after he got strip sacked by Rashawn Gary? Rashawn
Goff,
Gary, who
Goff's
is
had
a
a rough few games,
oh
but
man,
he's
a
been
rough few
hooping.
games against like good defenses.
Yeah, the
Like
Bears and the Packers both have good defenses.
those defenses are playing lights out recently.
And who else did they play?
He had a stinker against the Ravens, who have a really good
And the
defense. That was a
Ravens,
while ago, but
yeah,
he had a stinker against the Ravens, and that was, dude, that's one of the best defenses in the NFL. Like,
yeah.
I like, I think we need to cool on the Jared
Again,
Goff hate, but yeah,
Goff is another guy like Purdy that is just
yes,
one of those high tier game managers, and
yeah,
that's okay. Again, I will sing it until the cows come home. That is not derogatory.
right,
Derogatory as a game manager is Jimmy Garoppolo. These guys are not Jimmy Garoppolo. They are 10 times the quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo ever was.
mm-hmm,
They're good, and I'm tired of pretending Goff isn't. God damn it.
mm-hmm. Kyle. Oh, this is a good one from Patrick. I kind of like it.
I saw this one.
Kyle Hamilton should be the defensive player of the year.
He's had the best season on
He's playing
arguably the best
so
defense.
good. He is
So
playing
I see
so
where he's
so
coming
so so
from.
good. Yeah,
However,
I can't get behind it.
counter argument 54 in San Francisco.
What are the odds for Depoy right now?
Probably terrible.
But continue. Why do you think Fred Warner
Ron
is the
Bland.
Depoy? I haven't
Well,
actually heard you explain it quite yet.
yeah,
I
so
just heard you say it.
partially for the same reason that you can argue Kyle Hamilton. The Niners, in my opinion, have the best defense in football. I know their secondary has some holes. They're playing like the best defense in football. He is the best player on that defense. He is the best non-pass rusher in the league defensively. He is a one-of-a-kind football player at linebacker. He changes their defense in ways that no other linebacker in the league is coming close to. You can say what you want about Roquan Smith. You can say what you want about Demario Davis. You can say what you want about whoever else. No linebacker is having the individual impact on a defense that Fred Warner is having. Whether
Fair.
it's in the run game where he's flying through gaps, whether it's in coverage where he is all over the field at any given time. You know, we talk about guys that are just always at the ball. That's Fred Warner personified. Fred Warner at linebacker is like that one dude in your Madden league who runs around on every play and lurks you every single play.
Mm-hmm.
That is Fred Warner in real life. He is an unbelievable football player at the linebacker position. And where we're in a league that Khalil Mack is leading the league in sacks, no disrespect to Khalil Mack. I'd love to sit here and tell you he's the Depoy. I just don't think he is because he's stuck on a bad defense and they're not going to give it to him when he's stuck on a bad defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously there's a lot of contenders for Depoy this year. It's always going to end up going to an edge rusher, but this is a year where I think Fred Warner has a legitimate claim to it. And if the Niners defense continues playing at this level and he continues to be not only the captain of that defense, but the player that is individually having the best season on that defense, on top of everything else, I think he has a legitimate claim to it. And I know it just sounds like I'm going crazy on the Niners today with him and McCaffrey, but like, I think there's a legitimate shot for both of them. Will either of them win it? Probably not, because the voting committees suck and they have types that they like to keep with. It'll probably end up being like Dak and Max. No, they won't give it to Max Crosby because he's on a shitty team. It'll be like Dak and I don't know who's an edge rusher on a good team that's having a good year.
Dak? You think Dak's winning Depoy?
Yes, that's obviously what I meant. I meant for MVP and Depoy instead of McCaffrey and Warner.
Oh,
it'll be like Dak and Myles Garrett or something. Which Myles Garrett winning Depoy would be cool. I'm not anti that.
So I have two questions for you. First of all, if you had to guess, what do you think the TJ and TJ Watt stands for? Do you know? Or if you don't know,
something junior, I would assume.
It is not.
Something
I don't
James?
think you'll ever get it. No. The TJ and TJ.
Hold on, is it Thaddeus Jeremiah?
It is not, although that would be much cooler. It is Trent Jordan. Trent Jordan Watt is his name. But the top five
Trent
for odds,
Jordan, Justin James, and Derek.
Yeah. For
shout out Derek Watt.
Shout out Derek Watt. The top odds for Depoy, the top five. Micah Parsons is the odds-on favorite currently. Yeah. Myles Garrett, TJ, Deron Bland, and then Josh Allen. The top five.
Josh Allen being in the top five.
So Josh Allen's up there. Okay.
Deron Bland being so high is so weird.
Pick merchant. I mean, this is probably where Trevon Diggs was sitting about this time that 1 year, a couple years back.
Yeah, I know.
He's not going to win it.
So weird. He's not, but
Was Trayvon Diggs? I think Trayvon Diggs was a finalist that year. I want to say.
I don't remember.
But yeah,
I fear he'll have to follow the route of his teammate Trayvon Diggs and just settle for first team All Pro.
True. Another Demario Douglas take. That Demario Douglas is a top 5 rookie wide receiver so far.
Jesus, I almost said Garrett Wilson.
Puka.
Sorry, Puka,
Tank
Jordan
Dell,
Addison, Tank Dell,
Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed.
Yeah, you can put Jaden Reed up there.
And then Quentin Johnston. Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. We had this conversation last week where it's like pretty much every rookie receiver has been awesome this year.
Yeah, I don't think Demario Douglas is a top 5 rookie receiver. He just doesn't have the production, which isn't, again, we talked about earlier, is not his fault, but he just doesn't have the production.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I'm not sure how much input you have on this one because
I love
like
the take though. Makes me happy.
Yeah. Because you said you haven't watched, guys. But this one says that Drake May will be the first overall pick in the NFL draft, even if the Bears don't take him, which would imply that they either fall out of the spot or trade it. But
I like Drake May. Look, I'm gonna sound like such a loser right now. Again, going solely off of never watching them play, I hope I like Drake May more. I want to like Drake May more. Not because I want to be different. His older brother is my favorite college basketball player ever. Do you know how much fun I would have saying, hey, I want Luke May's little brother to be the quarterback for my Chicago Bears all offseason? It'll make me so happy.
That's true.
But what's probably going to happen is I'm going to do what everyone does, watch Caleb Williams and say, oh, okay, I want that. And that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because from my understanding, Caleb Williams is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit all wrapped up into one with the skill set of a healthy Kyler Murray, and Drake May is Justin Herbert.
Something like that.
That's what I've been told.
That's the gist, I would say. Yeah.
Which I would love a Justin Herbert in Chicago. In fact, Bears should just say fuck it and call up the Chargers and say, hey, 2 top 5 picks?
Yeah, 2 top 5 picks. Justin Herbert? Question mark?
2 top 5 picks in Justin Fields?
It'd be hard to...
2 top 5 picks in a first rounder next year and Justin Fields?
It'd be hard to say no, unfortunately. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want Justin Herbert in my division.
I would feel so bad for Tyler. I couldn't support it.
That's true. You couldn't take him away from Mr.
I can't.
It's all he's got. It's all he's got.
Literally all he has.
All he has.
He has to deal with Chargers fans yapping about Eckler 24/7, and all he gets in return is Justin Herbert not having any help.
Quarterback. Yeah. Yeah, those are the viewer hot takes. So yeah, those are the hot takes. Me and Miller didn't.
I have a hot take.
Oh, do you?
That I'd like to
we
present.
did. Go for it.
So you know how, like, when big things happen around the league or big players do big things, the Bleacher Report and NFL will tweet out like screenshots of other famous people tweeting about these things, mainly LeBron James. Like it's almost always LeBron James. I don't care. Why is this on my team?
There's no reason why this is a hot take. I don't understand why you think this is a hot take.
Because
does anybody care? What?
Yes.
Nobody cares.
I have said this before and had granted it's the LeBron stands, but I've had people come for my throat and be like, "Oh, you're just hating." Like, no, I don't care.
Yeah, dude, I do not care what LeBron thinks about DeRon Bland's pick 6. I do not care.
It shouldn't be a hot take, but it is because LeBron fans are insane.
I guess it is. Yes, I guess it is.
But listen, another thing I want to throw out there, just because I saw more of it, because a certain somebody may or may not have been named Person of the Year. If you are still hating on Taylor Swift being part of the NFL, please go touch grass. Thank you.
Yeah, what
She
he
is here
said.
to stay, and I am so unbelievably here for it.
Ain't a bad thing.
Like people are looking at it and they're like, "Ugh." Like I know I've went on this rant before. I don't care. I
Urgh.
saw more of it this week than I've seen in the past couple months, and it's pissing me off. She's like, "Ugh, how dare the NFL better their product and bring in more viewership because this woman cares about my beautiful sport." Mm, like God forbid she has a good time and enjoys something you also enjoy.
Mhm. Yeah. Um,
I know that was totally out of left field, but I was just thinking about it because I just got someone sent me a tweet about it and it angered me.
hmm. But yeah, those are viewer hot takes. Let's hop right into breaking down week 13 then, shall we? Starting off on Thursday night, Cowboys 41, Seahawks 35. Um, Geno Smith
See,
good? Question mark. I don't
maybe
know. I don't know what's going on because he wasn't, and now he is, and
right,
the Seahawks are 6-6, and it's like playoffs.
right. The
I don't
biggest
know.
things that bother me from this game is I can't stand how Seattle secondary tackles. It bothers me to my core, except for Devon Witherspoon.
Love
My
him.
my glorious Illinois king
Love
is
me
without
some
fault,
Devon Witherspoon.
but the
Yes.
rest of that secondary has no idea how to tackle. And also, I wanted to bring this up earlier, but I figured I'd save it. We were talking about the Cowboys and the Seahawks if they match up again in the playoffs. I think the biggest thing for the Cowboys is they now know that teams like Seattle, who have one really dominant wide receiver, are going to do whatever they can to exploit Duron Bland covering that receiver.
Probably true.
So
Probably
this might be very elementary. But I think if the Cowboys and Seahawks played again, and this might be a little bit of a hot take even,
true.
don't put Duron Bland on DK Metcalf and maybe you do better.
You know, you may be right. You may be right. Yeah.
Perchance.
Perchance you could be correct. Yes.
Perchance.
But yeah, DK Metcalf was insane in this
Oh
game.
my
I
god, yeah.
mean, 6 catches, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns,
Which
unstoppable, completely dominant. I
he's
mean,
such a conflicting football player, dude. It's like one
yeah,
week
no, he
he's
really
being an
is.
asshole and playing dirty as shit, and then the next week he pops off on live TV and is doing sign language and then tells this really emotional story about how he's still best friends with his high school American Sign Language teacher.
Hmm.
Like, dude, pick a side. Either be a dick or be a good guy. You can't do both.
Hmm.
You
This
can't
is
give
true.
me moral confliction. Sorry. I hate it.
But
It
yeah,
pisses me
CeeDee
off.
Lamb was also really good in this game. 12 catches,
Of course.
116 yards, and a tutty. Um, this is a fantastic game. The only good Thursday night football game we've gotten so far this year, except for tonight. Bailey's Happy Masterclass tonight. But yeah, pretty cut and dry here. I mean, Gino played a great game. Uh, they're really missing Ken Walker. I do understand this. I think this offense with Ken Walker could be pretty scary once he is.
Certainly.
Is he back? Will he be back?
I think he's trending towards being back.
But yeah, Dak put on another one of those performances. He might be the MVP. I mean, overall, just a fantastic game from the Cowboys, I would say, and not a bad game from the Seahawks either. So yeah,
Certainly. The
um,
Seahawks needed this one. They needed a game where they looked like a real football team again.
this may be a hot take, Miller. I'm going to put it out there. I think
All
Shane
right.
Steichen's the coach of the year. Hot take. I think he's a pretty good head coach.
I think
Hot
he's
take.
making a better case for himself every single week.
The Colts are 7-5 as they just squeaked past the Titans 31-28. Minshew Mania, maybe? I don't know. I don't understand how they keep doing this.
Uh,
They're 7-5 without their star.
I was talking about this with Patrick yesterday. A big part of it is Shane Steichen.
Yeah,
Like you look at what he's been able to do with Minshew, who, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Minshew in Philly right before I came over?
yeah.
Yeah. So Minshew had experience with Shane Steichen going into the season. He's already comfortable in this offense.
Hmm.
You give him a really sick arsenal of weapons with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, and even Kylan Granson, who's
Hmm.
had some like really decent games. And it's it's going to be cinema. Like, their offensive line has played great. Bernard Raymond has proven himself to be a legitimate franchise tackle.
Mm-hmm.
They've been able to run the ball effectively even without Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss was kicking it early in the season. I don't know if he did much in this game. I don't remember the box score off the top of my
Average
head.
2.7 yards a carry.
Okay, yeah. So the run game wasn't working in this game, but they had 200-yard receivers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Pierce had
And then
100 exactly, and then Pittman had 105.
and Kylan Granson had another 73?
72, but yeah,
72.
essentially.
Yeah. Josh Downs, who I would argue is the most explosive, most electric, and is on course to being the best receiver in
3
Indianapolis,
catches,
had a bad game.
14 yards. Yep.
Yet their offense
That
was
was
still
it.
killer.
Yep.
They have so many different things they can throw at you offensively. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's so much young talent. You've got Juju Brents, who I think is hurt right now. Jalen Jones, who's been kicking ass. Adi Atabarwe, excuse me. It's been a while since I've said his name. He's starting to trend upward. He's not playing a lot. I know he didn't record any stats in this game, but his snap count is progressively getting higher.
Yeah.
DeForest Buckner still exists. EJ Speed's one of the most underrated linebackers in football. Like, this is a legit football team, and
I
they're
mean,
only
like,
getting better.
Kwity Paye and Samson Mbunga both had 2 sacks in this game. I mean, they ate that Titans offensive line apart.
Gus
Like,
Bradley's freaking cooking, dude. And
yeah.
you know what the scariest part about it is?
Mm-hmm.
They've been missing Grover Stewart for 5 weeks.
They
He
have
comes
been
back this week.
one of the best run-stopping DTs in the league.
Yeah.
And they don't even have him.
Right.
And, like, yeah, I mean, like, the run, they couldn't stop the run for anything this week. I mean, Tajay Spears averaged 4.7 yards a carry. Derrick Henry averaged 4.9 yards a carry. Tajay Spears is really good. I love watching that dude play football.
So good. ACLs be damned. He's incredible.
Yeah. Will Levis had one of the coolest plays we've ever seen from a quarterback, where he fumbled the ball and then made the guy who picked it up fumble the ball and recovered it himself. Sick play. One of the better quarterback plays we've seen all season.
He's just like that. Dude, I love Will Levis.
And then he also had the guts to yell at DeAndre Hopkins on an overthrown pass. Which, listen, man,
it's his locker room.
Me personally, I wouldn't be doing that because I value my life. But
honestly, I respect it.
I respect getting in D Hop's face when it was totally your fault. I respect it. Trying to gaslight D Hop into thinking it was his fault. I understand. I do the same thing. I actually might do the same thing. Just be like, you know what? You should have caught that. I know I threw it 30 yards out of bounds.
The whole time,
you should have caught that.
Yeah. All the quarterbacks you've ever played with have been great. You've never played with a bad quarterback. You just make them worse.
Yeah. Without you, Matt Schaub's a Hall of Famer, DeAndre. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about ruining Matt Schaub's career?
Without you, Trace McSorley is starting in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's your fault that we were robbed of Trace McSorley.
It is your fault that Trace McSorley is currently the third-string emergency quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is exactly what Will Levis was saying to him, by the way.
I'm sure this is like verbatim what he was saying. This is what I would say to DeAndre Hopkins in his shoes.
I would also as well.
But Colts sweep past the Titans. They're 7-5. Moving on to one of the worst games of the week. Atlanta Falcons 13, the New York Jets 8. Hey, big news today. Zach Wilson's back, baby. At first they were like, "Hey, Zach, please come back," and he was like, "Don't think so." And now finally he told Robert Saleh that he wanted the ball, and they're giving it to him. So we'll see, because Tim Boyle.
I'm not even fully convinced that's what he meant. I think they were just doing warm-ups. Zach Wilson dropped his ball and he was like, "Hey, coach, can you give me the ball?" He was like,
Robert was like, "Yes, right, I can." You're
absolutely
wait. Tim Boyle, terrible.
Slight bone to pick with the internet. Bijan didn't get tackled with a fullback. He got tackled with a tight end. I saw a couple people call Parker Esty a fullback. On
the safety?
Yeah. Someone took Parker Hesse and tackled Bijan with him. And people were trying to say Bijan got tackled with his own fullback. He's a tight end.
That was not Keith Smith. That was not
Keith Smith would never. Keith Smith would simply pick the defender up and throw him out of the arena like he's Michael Oher.
Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't watch a lick of this game. I saw that Trevor Siemian came in and Tim Boyle got benched and then cut immediately, which doesn't surprise me. I saw the safety, and that was about it. From the box score, Brees Hall averaged 1.2 yards per carry. My glorious king. Time to be a family man, Brees Hall. I'm sorry, it's over.
Time to be a family man. The other 10 guys in New York.
Dalvin Cook averaged 3.9 yards a carry. So you tell me who's better. You tell me.
Racism.
On less carries.
Racism.
I don't know how to tell you that. I don't, without sounding weird, I don't know how to tell you that.
Go ahead, Jacob.
No.
Dispute my claim.
What they are of the same skin color, Miller.
It was the most awkward way you could have said that. You could have just said they're the same race.
Well, I could have, but I didn't. Let's play. Miller, you might know this because you were on Patrick's show yesterday talking about week 13. Okay. But let's play. Who's that leading receiver for the New York Jets this week?
I don't actually know this one offhand.
Okay. Go for it. Give me a little guess.
So it's gonna be someone weird. Is it an actual receiver?
Yes.
Okay, well that hurts.
Not only a receiver, a rookie receiver.
They have a rookie receiver? Oh,
big Hard Knocks guy. Big Hard Knocks guy. You didn't watch Hard Knocks, I don't think.
I didn't.
Big Hard Knocks guy. For the listeners at home who know, you know.
Nick Bawden, final answer.
Xavier Gibson was the leading receiver for.
I do know who that is.
For the New York Jets.
I do know who he is. I just couldn't think of his name. Okay. Good
Jermaine Johnson.
What do you have, like 30 yards?
77.
Oh, okay.
He had over half of Tim Boyle's passing yards.
That was not a Xavier Gibson shot, by the way.
It was a Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, terrible game. No need to speak. The Lions beat the Saints 33-28. It was 21-0 8 minutes into the game. And so if you're wondering how dookie the Lions defense is, they still almost managed to blow it against Derek Carr and Jameis Winston, of all people. Yeah, Carr's hurt. Probably isn't going to play this week. Jameis Winston stinks. Taysom Hill was their leading rusher. I mean, the Saints are a mess, dude. The Saints are a mess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're going to win the NFC South. I think they need to fire both Allen and Carmichael. Surprised one of those guys. Yeah, and Carr. They could fire him into the sun, I guess, is about their only option. But overall, like, Sam Laporta, crazy. He's really good. 9 catches for 140 yards in this game. He was the only receiver that went over 50 yards in this game. Like, so the Lions did not play that great of a game. It was Laporta, and then they carried the ball 26 times between their two running backs.
Of course they did.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All I know is Saints fans might be the most down bad fan base in the league. Because these motherfuckers were praying for Taysom Hill to take reps at quarterback.
We want Taysom. Shut up. No, you don't.
Much love to Taysom Hill. Much love to Taysom Hill when he's playing literally any other position on the field.
Yeah, Packers legend.
He's good when he's playing literally any other position. Quarterback, no. Get him off my screen.
Get him off my screen. No.
That being said, I'd still start him over Winston because he's a decent human being.
Yes. Real ones remember the Taysom Hill versus Kendall Hinton matchup. Real ones remember that game where those two started at quarterback because the Broncos had literally nobody else.
God, we were down horrendous for football during COVID, dude.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous game. Kendall Hinton was 1 for 9 for 13 yards and 2 interceptions. That's so funny. Taysom Hill had a bad game too. Latavius Murray with the 124-yard 2-touchdown game. Latavius Murray went crazy in that game. But yeah, Lions 33, Saints 28. Saints stink. Sorry, Saints fans. If you're a Saints fan, you're listening, I love you. And I hope that you find peace in the Pelicans because they're really good. So go watch basketball. Pelicans are good. So
go buy a Zion jersey.
Go buy a Zion jersey right now. Make yourself feel better. Make yourself feel better.
Go listen to some jazz music. Get
Listen
some
some jazz
gumbo.
music, some gumbo. Maybe go to New Orleans. Maybe just go there.
Yeah.
Maybe fly to New Orleans before we trade them away.
Group cry in New Orleans in 20 minutes.
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's arrange a meet. Okay, so next week at 3 a.m. in the middle of New Orleans, me and Miller are going to host a group cry for Saints fans. We will. I
We will be
promise you,
there.
at 3 a.m. in the morning on whatever the most popular street is in New Orleans. We'll figure it out. But me and Miller will definitely be there to lead the Saints group
We will
cry.
be there with tissues and
Shoes,
sad music. No Drake, but sad music.
pictures of Drew Brees will be
Hmm.
taped on the walls. Um,
Um,
we'll have pictures of that one corner who didn't get PI called on him with his face crossed out. The good stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, 3 a.m. next. Let's say
Cam
next
Jordan will
Tuesday.
be there.
Cam Jordan, I promise
He'll be
you,
there to
he
give
will be
hugs.
there. He'll be there to give you a hug.
Mhm.
Um,
And he will apologize.
yes, and he will apologize and he will say, "I'm sorry for what my team is doing to you."
And we
And
will have
we
punching
also
bags
will
set up
have
to look like Dennis
punching bags that
Allen.
look like Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael,
Yeah.
Derek Carr. There'll be 3 punching bags with those 3 people on them. So yeah, if you're a Saints fan, 3 a.m. Main Street in New Orleans, we'll be there. You should be there too. Um, Texans 22, Broncos 17. It's over. The Broncos insanity run is over.
I don't think it is. I
Yeah,
think
I
they'll be able
mean,
to pull it back together.
this was a rough one for old Rusty boy.
Yeah, but he played his ass off in the game. Like I
He
know the
did,
stat
yeah.
sheet's not doing
This
him
is
any
true.
favors, but he put it all on the line in this game, and I have a certain level of respect for him for it. It's just the Texans are such a good football team,
That's it. Yeah, I mean they are. They are a good
despite
football
what
team.
some Texans fans will tell you. The players on that team are good at football.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's tough, but
it
it
is.
was a good game.
It was a really good game. Yes, it was a very good game, which was surprising. You want to know? You want to know one guy that I want to highlight from the Texans?
Please do.
Nico Collins.
Ah,
9 catches for 191 yards and a
what's the
touchdown.
phrase? Never wrong, just early.
Yeah,
When I
that's kind of you with Mr. Collins.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't like to victory lap because I don't like to seem like a dick, but I bring it up because I'm really happy to be right about Nico Collins. He's
Hmm.
so fun.
Hmm.
He's so good, dude. Again, despite what Texans fans will try to tell you, the Texans have good receivers.
They
Nico
do.
Collins is one of them.
They do.
That being said, Tank Dell
He shouldn't have been good.
just
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't have been good. Why is he good? He shouldn't have been good.
well, now he's
Rest
hurt.
in peace, Tank Dell. Rest in peace, Tank Dell.
Rest in
Well, no,
peace.
he's alive. He's alive. Tank Dell is alive. You've heard it. You heard it here first on the Run the North podcast. Tank Dell is currently alive at the current moment, as of 10:42 Eastern time on Thursday, December 7th. But yeah, rest in peace to Tank Dell's rookie season. It was a great one.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
Speaking of rookies, Will Anderson. Will Anderson, big game for Will Anderson.
I have to delete some tweets.
Yeah, dude, he was crazy. Ton of pressures, two sacks. He had a batted pass that ended up in a Stingley interception, who also was fantastic today.
Yeah, Stingley's legit.
Derek Stingley he has arrived. He is here. All of the above. Derek Stingley is awesome. Love him.
Yeah.
He had 2 interceptions. One of them, like I said, came off of that the Will Anderson Jr. Batted pass. So yeah, Will Anderson had a great game. You know who has never had a great game in his entire NFL career?
Who?
Tyree Wilson.
Well, we knew that was coming.
I
Tyree Wilson was more raw.
wish he would do something. I just want to talk about him on this podcast.
He's just
I just
so
wish he would
raw.
do something.
He-
He'll get there. He'll get
Listen,
there.
okay, if Tyree would have went to a real organization
This is fair. That's also a fair point.
and
Yeah.
had a chance to develop, we'd be having a different conversation.
True.
Now, I'm not saying he'd be as good as Will Anderson's been this year. He wouldn't be. I still stand by thinking that Tyree was a better prospect, but we all knew day one that Will Anderson was going to be better. He was far more polished. He was far more NFL ready.
Yeah.
Tyree was just a lot more raw. And the upside is still there. We've seen flashes of that upside. We've seen flashes of his tools. He just hasn't been able to put it together, and he's not in the best environment for somebody to help him put it together.
Right.
Which is heartbreaking. Because the world needs Tyree Wilson to be good.
Mm-hmm. The world does need Tyree Wilson to be good. It really, really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game. Chargers 6, Patriots 0.
We can say one thing about it and then move on. The
Both of
Mac
us each get one
attack
thing?
is so
Oh.
back.
Oh,
Okay.
you weren't okay. You weren't. Thought you were talking
What?
about another Mac that played in this game, and I was like, I don't know. But yes, the Mac attack is so back. Put that on a T-shirt because the Mac attack is so back.
The
Even
title
his
of an
weak attacks.
upcoming Miller football upload.
Yeah, actually, that'll be the episode of this Run the North. That'll be the title of this Run the North episode. So then you look like you're gonna copy it. Now you look like the copycat.
What I said yesterday on Patrick's podcast that I was going to call my video that's coming out. Same thing. So I have receipts.
Did you trademark it? Didn't think
Yeah.
so. Boom.
Trademark
Sorry.
right here.
Geek when one of us says anything negative about Run the North. I have the trademark right here. I will sue.
Hey guys, we need a new Vikings member. Well, it's not going to be called Run the North then. You have to call it something else then.
Every single time. Well, if there's no me, there's no Run the North. And when I forget what we were talking about last week, we were talking about something, and he was like, "Well, if I'm not there, you better not call." Oh, it was when we were talking about when we were gonna present the Male Athlete of the Year award, and he wouldn't be there because he hates neon green. and he was like, "Well, if I'm not there, you better not call it the Run the North podcast." I think we should steal the trademark. I think we should steal the trademark.
We are going to steal the trademark for Run the North.
Like he'll be streaming one day and we'll just crash through his window.
Oh my god.
And
we'll have you ever seen
from him.
I know he's apparently a piece of shit now. He wasn't when this came out. Have you ever seen the Call Me Carson video when he broke into all the streamers' rooms and like stole shit from them?
Yes.
It'll be like that.
I remember that. Yeah. Just psh, where's the trademark?
I used
we
to
get
love
it. We're out of there. Yeah.
It was one of my favorite videos.
But yeah, we'll just steal the trademark. Geek won't listen to this episode, so he won't know what we're planning.
Yeah, Geek doesn't listen to any episodes that don't involve it. We're being so mean.
He's not here. He can't defend himself.
I know, and that makes it worse.
Okay, the Japanese thing was funny. I'm not taking that as derogatory.
The Japanese thing was fucking hysterical. That is the funniest thing you have ever said.
That is genuinely the hardest I've ever heard Miller laugh in our entire time of doing this show
giggling.
and any show prior. But yeah, the Mac attack is so back. And that's about all we got to say about the Chargers and Patriots. James Conner revenge game kind of went crazy.
Yeah.
Cardinals 24, Steelers 10. Steelers are looking like currently they're on their way to 7-6, which is tough.
I wouldn't say that.
They're only down by a field goal now because Trubisky just ran it in for a touchdown and got the 2 point. Not the point.
Yeah.
Don't want to speak it into existence. I don't want to speak the Mitch Trubisky game-winning drive into existence.
I don't either. It's Zappy hour.
It's true. But yeah, James Conner might. I mean, he just decided that he was going to destroy the Steelers' defense because I guess he wanted his revenge.
I need to check one thing. Only one thing matters to me for this game because I didn't watch it.
Greg Dortch had 1 catch for 19 yards, and it was one of the best catches of the year.
We move.
Great catch. I don't know how he keeps making these contested catches against corners who is way smaller than.
Future Chicago Bear Greg Dortch.
So, yeah, Greg Dortch had 1 catch for 19 yards, and it was a big one. It was actually a big conversion, too, that led to them winning the game.
Greatest 19 yards ever gained through
Greatest
the air.
19 yards ever gained through the air by any team, by any player ever. Ever. But, yeah, Trubisky, Pickett, Najee, Pickens, Uh,
I feel so, it
what
makes
are
me
you gonna
so
say,
sad that Mitch is so bad, dude. I hate
dude?
being so
I
right about
He
him.
has been horrendous tonight. I don't know how they're in this game. He has thrown probably if there was a rule in the NFL where when a defender catches a ball, he just doesn't automatically can't drop it. Like if every pick was a pick, he would have thrown I think 8 or 9 tonight probably. I mean the dude is
Crazy.
terrible. Like dude is terrible. But yeah, Mitch sucks. Kenny Pickett might also suck. We might just need to accept that. Me and Miller had some
I still
some
stand by he's better than Trubisky, though. You can't take that from me.
that was one of the biggest that was one of the earliest debates on the show
And you cannot take it from me.
was Miller and Geek going at each other for a solid 5 to 10 minutes about who was better, which is such a stupid debate because not only is Pickett so clearly better, but like it's Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky, man. Like, come on. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, Kyler Murray played a good game. Love to see
Was
him
this
getting back to give
the
everything.
was this the first game with Muth back, or did he come back last week?
He came back against the Bengals and absolutely gashed him
Okay,
last
yeah.
week. Yeah.
These 2 weeks have run together for me, so I'm a little off.
Hmm. Fair. Fair.
But yep,
Um,
yeah, the Steelers, they played their classic Mike Tomlin. We're better than this team. Surely we should beat them, but we won't type
but
game.
we won't. Yeah.
They always have one or two a year. Always. It's a Tomlin tradition.
Hmm. Miller, let's play another game. What Cardinals running back averaged 6.2 yards per carry in this game? That wasn't James Conner.
It wasn't him, was it?
Not Amari DiMercado.
Okay.
No.
Uh, was it North Carolina legend Michael Carter?
It was North Carolina legend Michael Carter. 6.2 yards a carry for the man.
What a legend. Best running back in Arizona.
Yeah. One of the yeah. Yeah. No. No, sorry, I can't agree. James Conner's better than Michael Carter.
Yes,
I really had to think if there was any other running back besides those two. I was like,
gonna say they cut Keontae Ingram, so I took my L on that
there's a
one.
running back for the Arizona State Sun Devils right now. um, but yeah, the potential MVP Tyreek Hill decided that he was going to go out and have a Randy Moss type stat line against the Commanders. 45 Dolphins, Commanders 15. Man, a fantastic game for the Dolphins.
Beautiful.
The Commanders are they're bad. There was some
Yeah.
hope in the beginning of the season, but they're bad.
Did Hal have that game? I didn't watch this one either.
12 for 23, 127 in a pick.
Not great.
So not
Not
great,
ideal.
but yeah. I don't know. Hal is going
Here's
to be an interesting guy to have conversations about when the season's
here's
through.
what I want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Scary Terry?
Do you want to know how many catches he had in this game?
Yeah.
0.
Where'd he go? What happened?
Well, I mean, he's never had a good quarterback in his life.
I
I
know, but
don't
like
think
this
Sam
season
Howell is a
he's
good quarterback. I
disappeared.
mean, yeah, he still would produce. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Like I know prior to this year, yeah, he struggled with
He's
quarterback play, but
taking
how
the
was the best
scary.
quarterback he's
He's
played with?
taking the scary Terry thing to a new level and just disappearing like a ghost. I don't get it.
He's
Like it.
gone from Scary Terry to Scared Terry.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them. It's interesting because the Dolphins don't have anybody who should really be able to guard him outside of Xavier and Howard. Like that should be a secondary that he should be able to kind of. Oh, Jalen Ramsey's
I was gonna
healthy.
say, did we
Never
forget about
mind.
number
Never
5?
mind. I almost just called him Jalen Hamstring. Jalen Ramsey is healthy. I don't
That's
know why I
foul.
almost called him Jalen
That's
Hamstring.
foul.
I don't know why that almost came out of my mouth. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, 5 catches for 157 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Good game from Jalen Waddle. Good game from Devon Achane. Good to have him back for the Dolphins. I mean, they're rolling. I think they're one of the best teams in the AFC, if not the best team in the AFC. The Ravens are up there. I mean, but
they're
like
number 1 in the
reality,
AFC
like
right now, right?
they
There's
are.
a ball.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so
I
it's still
think
them.
it's Miami. Yeah. But those two teams are really like they're the two powerhouses in that conference right now.
Yeah.
And with Ramsey being healthy and Achan being healthy and the run game being good, even with Raheem Mostert, it was pretty good. But having that two-headed back now is really good. Yeah, overall, really good game for at least the Dolphins. If you're a Commanders fan, Mason, I know you're listening. I'm sorry, man. It'll get better. They'll fire
Ron can't
Rivera and
hurt
it'll
you
get
for
better.
much longer.
Yeah, just a few more games of Riverboat. He's going to be the DC in Chicago this time next year. It's okay. It's
We
okay.
move. We will
Um,
welcome him with open arms.
this is a game that I really want to get right in my picks, but I didn't. Buccaneers 21, Panthers 18. Mike Evans is stupid.
Mike
That guy is
Evans is
stupid.
so good.
He is so good. He hit his 10th straight
Shout out to
1,000-yard
shout
season.
out every single year of his career. So what's he been in the league? 10 years?
Yeah. Every
Shout out to
single
anyone
year
who
of this
doesn't
dude's
think he's a Hall of
career.
Famer.
Yeah, this dude.
Shout out to you.
I'm not sure if he's first ballot, but he's certainly a Hall of Famer.
It depends on who else is in his year. I mean,
Right.
obviously we won't know yet, but
Right.
I mean, Mike Evans is a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame, dude. He's so good. He's
He
so
is so
consistent.
good. So consistent, so good. Yeah, I mean there's not much else to say about him. I mean, he is phenomenal.
He was incredible. Rashad White had a big game.
Rashad White had a big game on the ground. Yeah, he was great. 20 carries, 84 yards, tutty. Yeah, I mean overall, I mean Chuba Hubbard had a decent game.
Yeah,
Chuba
they
Hubbard
ran
fighting.
all over
They
the
ran all
Bucks.
over the
Which, like,
Bucks.
is
They
Vita Vea?
had what's up?
Was Vita Vea hurt?
He played. So did Cansey too, who isn't necessarily a run stopper, but they both played.
Yeah, weird. Again, I didn't watch this full game. I just caught all of the offensive
Yeah, I was
highlights on
watching
Twitter.
Red Zone. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard averaged 4.2 yards a carry, went crazy.
Yeah,
Jonathan Mingo is really starting to fit into a nice role in this offense.
Finally.
He had 6 catches for 69 yards. Bryce Young looked pretty decent through the one pick, which was a little bit rough. But yeah, no, it was overall a pretty decent game for him, and it was pretty positive for the Panthers and the Bears. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's the big one. 49ers 42, Eagles 19. Miller was right.
Dude.
Last week, me and Geek were like, oh, we really want the Eagles to roundhouse the Niners. And then Miller was like, I think the Niners will roundhouse the Eagles.
I mean, dude,
man.
I didn't see it being a mollywhopping the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so happy to be right about the Niners being better than the Eagles because, like, listen, this game, I know normally, like, a one-game sample size, it's hard to, like, definitively say that one team is far superior to another, especially when you have two high-caliber teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was an ass beating.
Mm-hmm.
This was an old school, we're going to run the ball down your throat and you cannot stop us type of ass beating. And I know that they had a lot of success through the air too, but the run game is really what separated this game. And above all else, the biggest issue, I know we've talked about it a little bit, is how awful Philadelphia's linebackers are.
Mm-hmm.
And the Niners were able to beautifully exploit it. I mean, the one play to Kittle you brought up, and then every time they ran the ball between the tackles, hitting Debo over the middle consistently, they couldn't tackle the man. They forgot how to tackle. Like, that's the other thing. The Niners are the most fundamentally sound team in football.
Yes.
How do you forget the fundamentals when playing the 49ers? That's like the number one thing you need.
Yeah, you can't.
If you want to be on even ground with the Niners, you have to have your fundamentals in check, and the Eagles simply did not.
Mm-mm.
So it was a mess on there, and Christian McCaffrey looked awesome. Debo had a big game. Yep. Purdy was efficient.
Yeah.
The defense was great. Like it was an all-around ass beating from the 49ers. And like, I don't know, the whole thing with God, is it Big Dom? Is that what his name is?
Big
the
Dom.
Security guy.
Big Dom. Good
Funniest shit ever.
Good for him. Way to go out. What a way to go out.
I just can't get over Dre Greenlaw's reaction. Like he was like he drew a fake mustache on his face with his finger. Like, what was that supposed to do?
Dre Greenlaw might just be a child. I don't know.
Right, like I almost respect the levels of silliness that occurred on that field. Like this guy just saw the most stereotypical Italian motherfucker on the planet and said,
And
"You know
just went
what?
whoop.
Whoop. Hey, hey, buddy, you're missing something."
Hey, buddy,
That's
you're
all it
missing
was. You missed a little something, something.
something.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
just so silly. And then for the
it
Niners to
really
be like,
was.
we don't need one of the 10, 15 best linebackers in football. We'll just throw D-winners out there and kick your ass anyways. Like, okay,
Hmm.
sure. And the Niners secondary held their own without Talanoa Hufanga, which is
Hmm.
huge.
Hmm.
I mean, they were just awesome. I know I'm kind of stealing all the thunder here, but I'm so
No, I
happy
mean
about
you're
this
good,
game.
bro. Yeah, no.
I was so excited about this game. It was so fun, so good.
Yeah, no, I mean you pretty much that's anything I would have said. I mean, this is a great game. I mean we mentioned this during the hot take segment, but I don't think the Eagles are really as good as they were last year by any means. I think they're very beatable, especially when it comes to the
Yeah,
other two teams who were kind of up there in the NFC. But yeah, give DeAndre Swift the ball more. 6 carries is
yeah.
ridiculous.
And
Um,
I do want to throw out as well, since it's relevant. They just signed Shaq Leonard.
mhm.
He is an upgrade over what they had at linebacker. That's saying very little for the Eagles. That being said, he is going to bring a level of veteran leadership that the Eagles defense very clearly needs. It's a group that lacks
True.
discipline,
Yes.
especially in the back seven. Like,
Yes.
I feel like what we're seeing right now is the defensive line kind of distance itself from everybody else. They're like, hey, we got our shit handled. We're just going to go stand over here and let y'all figure it out. And now you add Shaq Leonard, who will be in that room. He'll be able to teach some of the younger guys. He'll be a fantastic mentor for Nakobe Dean. I don't know if he's supposed to come back or not this season. I hope he is. I don't know offhand. Um, but if nothing else, just getting to be in the same locker room as him is going to be huge. And then also, like, Shaq Leonard still can diagnose plays well enough. So there's going to be points where he's going to be able to put himself in the right place at the right time. He's not going to be able to make a ton of plays because he simply does not have the athletic ability to do it anymore. But, he'll be out there on the field as like the quarterback of the defense, and that's something they need. So the Shaq Leonard signing for them was fantastic. And major props to Howie Roseman for never being content with his roster, because every 5 minutes it's like, oh, we sucked here for like 5 minutes in this game. Let's completely revamp the position. And that
Hmm.
is good GMing. Now, I wish he would have done a little bit more of that in the offseason instead of just putting band-aids on every single inch of his secondary, but it is what it is. They're doing a decent enough job of fixing it up and patching it up in the regular season.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah. Browns Rams saw the return of Joe Flacco. Rams 36, Browns 19. Boy,
Shout
did
out
we
the
see the
Rams,
return
man.
of Joe Flacco. The Rams are 6-6. Not a bad football team by any means. Puka Nakua, dog,
Yeah,
dog, um,
absolutely. Kyron Williams, dog.
dog. Uh, uh, Cooper
Matt
Cup,
Stafford,
Matt
dog.
Stafford, dog. Uh, yeah,
What
I
did they do
just
defensively?
the Rams.
Yeah, did they have anyone have a decent game?
Kobe Turner had a sack and a half. He was their leading
Dog.
artist. Dog.
The conductor.
But yeah, I mean, listen, the Browns' offense just isn't going to be it. I think they're going to fall out
No,
of the playoff race in the AFC
I
pretty
agree.
easily. Yeah, they can't run the football without Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Pierre Strong and Jerome Ford just aren't doing it the way that they could. Elijah Moore is their leading receiver, and Amari Cooper is hurt. Two
Like
very bad
hurt.
things, like hurt. He should not
David
probably not be
Njoku's
back.
banged up.
And Joku's banged up. Their defense had this many sacks against that Rams O line. This many.
Jinkies.
So rough. I mean, Miles Garrett's playing hurt, but still, I mean, they got some dogs on that D line,
Yeah.
and like you got to get past that offensive line at least once. But overall, yeah, not a good game for the Browns. They're in heavy danger of slipping out of the playoff race.
As God intended. Oh God. I don't even care about your moment. Baldur's Gate 3 just won Game of the Year.
Let's go. Let's go.
Makes you so happy. Fucking love that game, dude.
Sunday Night Football at Lambeau. Packers 27, Chiefs 0. They shut them out.
I don't think they did that.
I was just waiting for Miller to say it. Okay. Yeah, Packers 27, Chiefs 19. Oh man. This is such a good game from the Packers. I mean, their offense was legit in this game. I mean, that first half was flawless football from the Packers offense. Absolutely flawless. I mean, Jordan Love had like 2 incompletions in the first half. He was whipping the ball around. He was making some crazy throws. He was really good in the first half. He went 25 for 36 for 267, 3 touchdowns. He was fantastic the entire game. A.J. Dillon was running the football effectively. You never thought I'd say those words again, but he was running the football effectively. Romeo Dubs and Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft and Jalen Reed and Malik Heath are all so good. And they torched one of the best passing defenses. Granted, a banged up one, but one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. Offensive line held their own against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and Chris Jones. The defense was very good. I mean, they were able to actually stop Mahomes. I mean, the defense sacked him 3 times in the red zone on the first 2 possessions, led to 2 field goals in the first 2 possessions from the Chiefs, which is something that if you're going to beat the Chiefs, you got to hold them to not. You got to hold them. You got to stop them in the red zone, especially where they're most dangerous. They did a good job on Kelsey for the most part. From the Chiefs' perspective, I mean, Mahomes was okay. Like that pick from that he threw to Sky Moore was bad. It was a
Yeah,
bad pick. I mean, don't know where he wanted to throw that ball. Keyshawn Nixon, who's a kick returner, obviously knows how to track football like that, was going to come down with it.
dude, I had to do a double take when I got that notification because I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
I had some family stuff going on that I had to
Mhm.
handle, but when I got that notification, I was like, "The punt returner?"
Yeah, that guy, Keyshawn
Yeah.
Nixon, love him. He's done a great job filling in with Jai Alexander hurt. Yeah, like I said, they did a great job on Kelsey. They played a flawless game on offense. I mean, everything I could have asked for. LaFleur's play calling. Hey, listen, I said it on this podcast, and I have to apologize to Matt LaFleur because I said multiple times on this podcast that I wanted him fired. No more. He is the guy. He is one of the best play callers in the NFL. I don't know why I ever doubted this fact. I
Jacob,
think yes,
who never wavered in his support of the head coach of the Green Bay Packers
Theo Ash,
Uh, outside of Green Bay fans?
geek,
All right.
Patrick,
I'm trying to
multiple
be.
white seal.
I'm trying to say something nice about the Packers. You're
You?
okay.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know you liked LaFleur.
I argued in favor of LaFleur multiple times on here.
Oh, okay. Well, you were right.
I can't tell. Is this
Congratulations.
a bit or are you being serious? I actually can't tell.
Partially a bit, partially me being serious.
Okay.
I genuinely can't remember you arguing for LaFleur,
I, s-
but I
I
also
think I have one here.
the
I
bit
know I
part of
have
me wants to
elsewhere.
just say that you didn't and gaslight you into believing that you didn't.
I
But
think I think you are successfully gaslighting
but
me.
no, LaFleur is one of the best play callers in the NFL. I mean, I saw what I saw out of that offense and the play calling, and last week and against the Chargers. I mean, I think it was just this offense being young and immature and not being able to actually execute his offense that was really the issue. But overall, I could not be happier. Maybe we're probably going to lose to the Giants somehow. That's probably going to happen, and I'm going to go right back
Tommy
to where I
DeVito.
was at the beginning of the season. But right now, I'm on cloud 9. I'm the happiest I've been watching Packers football this season. They were fantastic. They beat the defending champs, one of the best teams in the AFC. They beat Patrick Mahomes. Jordan Love was 1-1 against Patrick Mahomes.
All right, I do want to say something, and I promise this isn't me trying to take the wind out of the Packers' sails. I promise this isn't me trying
The
to
defense
slander
is
the
still bad.
Packers. Well, no. I wasn't even going to say anything about Green Bay. I was just going to shit on the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, they were
Like
bad.
Green Bay kicked their ass. I'm not trying to take that away from y'all, but we need to have some serious conversations about the Kansas City Chiefs because
Yeah,
this football team
no,
is
for
not
sure.
unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
This football team is not a powerhouse anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The
Kelsey
Chiefs
is
are
a
like us.
shell of that himself.
Kelsey's
That
playing hurt, and he's no longer the only guy the Chiefs can rely on.
Rasheed Rice
Their
and
receiver core sucks.
sucks. Sky
Rasheed Rice has
Moore.
shown some flashes to his credit,
Sky
not
Moore.
consistent
Time
enough,
to be a family man, buddy. See ya.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mahomes is trying to play hero ball, and it's
Yeah.
worked most of the time this season,
This is
but we
true.
have seen multiple games, including this one, where it just didn't. The defense is good, but it's not good enough to dig the offense out of holes consistently, which is such a crazy thing to say about a team led by Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelsey, but
Yep.
it is the truth. The
Mm-hmm.
most consistent thing right now about the Kansas City Chiefs is their run game, and Isaiah Pacheco was hurt.
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs are in dangerous territory. Now, again, I would like to reiterate, because I am a Bears fan and I know how people will take this. This is not me trying to take this away from the Green Bay Packers. They kicked their asses. They played fantastic football. They were executing at a high level in all aspects of the game. Even Joe Barry, who's one of the worst defensive coordinators in football, called a pretty decent defensive game.
No,
and the defense looked good in spite of him.
Yes.
That being said, the Chiefs might need to start considering being a family man. The whole team.
The entire team. That's fair. That's fair.
They're all going to become one big family.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think they're a true contender in the AFC. I don't know.
Very
I
close
don't know
to
if
feeling the same
I don't
way.
know if I can put them in that category.
I'm
I
very
think they're
close to
I
feeling
think they're
the
a
same way.
tier because like they beat the Dolphins in Germany, but I think I still have to put the Dolphins in that tier ahead of them.
I mean, I
They're
agree.
healthier now and they're
I
playing
think
better.
I think the Dolphins and Ravens are in a tier of their own right now.
Yes,
But I
that's my
think there's
feeling.
almost like a sub tier below that tier before you hit
Which
the
is
second
which
tier
is
of
the
teams where
Chiefs.
Kansas City
Yes.
fits them.
Because I don't
And
think I think they're better than all the second tier teams. I don't think they're
right,
anywhere near as good as the Ravens or the Dolphins.
because the big thing is like the Chiefs aren't nearly as good as they have been, but Mahomes has the same impact on me that Tom Brady did, where I refuse to count him out until I am given a legitimate reason to.
Yeah. No.
And
Fair.
Mahomes is still playing like one of the 3 to 5 best quarterbacks in football this year. It's not like
Always.
Mahomes has been absolute dog shit, terrible, send that man to the XFL type play.
Right.
He hasn't been God,
No.
but he hasn't been the worst player in the world either. So like Mahomes is still enough for me to consider the Chiefs contenders, but I'm very close to taking them out of that conversation. And I don't think they're
I am
top
too.
tier contenders.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, but yeah, I mean overall great game by the Packers.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Again, reiterating for the third time, not trying to take that away from them.
Mhm.
They were awesome.
And yeah, let's wrap it up. Monday night. Bengals Jags. Jake Browning masterclass. But before we say anything else, just a moment, maybe a few seconds of silence for Trevor Lawrence. Sucks.
How about Parker
It sucks.
Washington?
There it is. Parker Washington gets one lucky catch. The ball just
One
bounces
lucky
to him.
catch.
Oh, he had 6 catches. That's crazy.
Yeah, buddy.
Listen, buddy, I didn't watch any of the game. I had it on, but I was hanging out with people. I was not paying attention. The
I
only
didn't
Parker
watch it
Washington
either. I
moment I
just
saw
watched.
was the one where the ball got tipped to him in the end zone. I was like,
Yes,
oh, Parker Washington.
I
That's his
didn't watch
guy.
the game either. I just watched
Yeah.
Parker Washington highlights. After.
Yeah. But Parker
That's all I
Washington,
cared about, dude.
10.2 yards per catch.
Listen,
Parker Washington.
the Jaguars found out they have another good receiver.
Yeah.
It only took them 14 weeks, but they learned he's there.
Calvin Ridley
Use
is
him
so
now,
weird.
maybe?
Calvin Ridley is so weird.
He's so backwards.
I don't know if he's good or not. I can't tell. In theory, he should be, but he doesn't seem like he is most of the time. But then he does. I don't. Okay, he's a weird. He's a weird
Calvin
guy.
Ridley?
What is Calvin Ridley? I don't know.
If you know the
I
answer,
couldn't
let us
tell
know
you.
down in the
Let us
comments
know down in
section
the
below.
comments. If you know what a Calvin Ridley is,
Because we've been trying to figure it out. We don't know.
we're stumped. We've been trying to figure it out.
You know who's better than Calvin Ridley?
Jamar Chase.
Parker Washington.
Stop it.
You know
Jamar
who
Chase
is
did have
the
a really good
next Debo Samuel?
Jaden Reed.
Parker Washington.
Oh man. You know who's
You know
the
who
next
went
Kyle
to Penn
Juszczyk?
State?
Henry
What?
Pearson. You know who's the next Kyle Juszczyk? Henry Pearson.
I hate that you didn't bring him up in the whole. I was waiting for you to bring him up.
He was
and you
great.
failed to.
He was fun. I loved watching him. He can block, bro.
I saw some
I like
promising
that guy.
things. Made me happy.
Get the Guar off my football team. I want Henry Pearson.
Josiah DeGuara.
I want Henry
man.
Pearson snaps now. But yeah, Jamar Chase, 11 catches for 149.
Decent game. He's
decent
all right.
game for him. He's. I think he might be okay at football. I think so.
Yeah, I think
can't
he's a good young receiver that I think is really
Yeah.
on the come up and is starting to make a name for himself.
You heard it here first. We're telling you before anybody else is. Jamar Chase, good. Buy stock in Jamar.
A little bit of a hot take,
buy
but you
stock
might
in
want to
this
check
Jamar
your
Chase
waiver
guy.
wires in fantasy.
Buy stock in
He
this
might
Jamar
be
Chase
sitting
guy.
there.
Yeah.
He's gonna be pretty all
We're
right.
on
Once
top of
Joe
this thing.
Burrow's back,
Yeah. We're on top of
watch
this
out.
thing before anybody else is. All right.
Yeah.
We're giving you the straight
We dove
facts.
into the tape.
We dove into the
We
tape.
grinded the
We
film and we
realized that
saw
the best receiver on the Bengals is in fact Jamar Chase, if you can believe it.
surprisingly.
Yeah,
I
Jake
know T
Browning.
Higgins is good, but like
Yeah. Swift. Tyler Boyd is. Tyler Boyd threw more interceptions in this game than Jake Browning did.
Tyler Boyd threw a pick to Josh Allen, dude.
It was the worst thing
Makes
ever.
me so
He really
happy.
thought he could get that ball to Joe
He
Mixon.
really thought he
He
was
really thought he could
lovable.
get that ball. He really thought he could throw the ball the entire width of the field. Essentially, he was like, "Yep, I can do this." But yeah, Josh Allen got a pick. He's a defensive player of the year candidate. And Trevor Lawrence was playing so good before he got hurt. He was 22 for 29 for 258 and 2 touchdowns. He was playing so good. And it just everything sucks. And the Jags didn't get him a cart, and everything sucks.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Why?
You want to know why? Because he said no. He came
Oh,
out in the interview and
really?
he was just like, they asked me if I wanted a cart, and I was just like, no, I can make it. And then I realized that it was a really long walk, but I didn't want to back down on it, so I just decided to take the walk. He's like, yeah, they asked me like multiple times on the walk if I wanted a cart, and I just kept saying no. And I was like, you know what? Good for you. Good for you, Trevor. You walk it off.
Listen, we learned about this in my women's studies class, okay? Trevor, I know society tells you as a man that you have to be big and tough and you can't accept help from others, but listen, sometimes it's okay to accept a helping hand. Next time, go get on the cart. Nobody's going to judge you for it.
Yeah. Yeah. But that is
Sorry, I have my women's studies final tomorrow, so
nice.
half of my brain is gender norm.
Everybody in the comments of this video wish Miller good luck on his final. Maybe we'll get him to the promised land. But yeah, that is our week 13 breakdown. Before we get into the final segment of our show, which will be picking week 14, let's do fantasy league picks and picks leaderboard updates here. The fantasy league, first of all, this past week we had the Miller Geek Bowl.
It was so unfair.
Who won?
Geek did.
Did he? I didn't. Oh, because
I didn't have
Miller
anybody.
started Cole Kmet. He started the guy on bye.
I didn't have a way to open up a roster spot for a backup tight end. I
There's
was
nobody you could have dropped.
No. I would have had to have dropped like Justin Tucker, who was on a bye week.
Nobody would have picked him up.
Yes, they would have. It's Justin fucking Tucker. Grayson, if no one
See,
else, Grayson
I'll
would have
prove it to you right now. Do it. Drop
No,
him right now.
'cause
Nobody
you'll
will.
pick
I
him up.
swear, nobody will pick him up.
This is a prank. You're trying to pull a fast one there, Jakey
But
boy.
yeah, there's a pretty good rush for the 5 seed now, from between Miller and Geek. It's a
Hold on,
1 game
just for
separation.
reference, this is the team I rolled out last
Go
week.
for it.
That actually ended up working out well for me. So I had Jake Browning,
Nice.
Brees Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Juszczyk,
Womp womp.
Jamar Chase, Elijah Moore, Tucker Kraft, JSN,
Okay.
Chris Boswell, and the Chargers.
That isn't the worst.
Actually,
team
wasn't a
in the
bad
world.
team.
That
But
isn't the
Geek
worst.
had Joe Mixon, 29.7 points.
Yep.
Mike Evans, 29.2 points.
Yep.
Debo Samuel, 35.8 points.
Uh-huh.
Puka Nacua, 23.9 points.
Yeah.
So I lost 171 to 122. But this week I play Grayson, and I'm going to mop the floor with him.
Yeah, I mean, we are 1 week away from the playoffs, so we'll be up to you guys in the playoffs once those come around. But this is big. I am playing Valente. So Valente, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I have to. It isn't personal. I just have to do this. But I am in 3rd place at 10-3. Miller's in 5th place at 8-5, and Geek is in 6th place at 7-6 is where we sit. And our leader is still Walter White Seal after last week, who's 11-2. So congratulations to you. And then the picks leaderboard, Geek still leads us at 114.79.
But he just lost one.
Yeah, is it over?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Miller both just gained a game on Geek because we both picked the Patriots. Spoiler alert, we both picked the Patriots for Thursday Night Football. He picked the Steelers.
And if you don't believe us, I made my pick on Patrick Cypher's podcast, the Goal Line Podcast.
And I've had my picks
this morning, and Jake always.
And I have a screenshot. I have a screenshot to prove that Geek sent his in before the game. So yeah. But yeah, so He leads it at 114 and 79. I'm at 111 and 82, and Miller is at 110 83. It is a 1 game difference between me and Miller for second place. It's a tie race coming into the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, without further ado, let's pick some football games, Miller. Assuming that
No,
you're ready to do that. Okay.
give me a minute.
I don't know what he's doing.
All right.
Okay, I don't know what that was, but
You'll never know.
I guess not. Okay, so starting off, I guess with Thursday night, me and Miller both picked the Patriots, and Geek took the Steelers. So womp womp for Geek, but a good moment for me and Miller. Texans
An even
Jets.
better moment for me, by the way,
Why?
because the Panthers' chances of having the number 1 overall pick just jumped up exponentially.
That is true. Yes. Texans Jets. What do you got?
Texans, Jets, Texans.
I have
Easily.
the Texans as well. They're gonna blow the brakes off of the
I
Jets team,
take
I
it Geek
believe.
also took the Texans?
Geek took the Texans. Yes. Ravens taking on the Rams. I'm taking the Ravens. Geek is also taking the Ravens. Miller, who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Ravens, but this is definitely one I have my eye on as a potential upset.
Could be a trap game for sure.
Yeah.
Giving me trap game vibes. Panthers Saints. I'm taking the Panthers. Geek is taking the Saints. Who are you
I will
taking?
also be taking the Saints out of New Orleans.
Out of New Orleans. The group cry is really going to give them momentum. That is true.
Yeah.
Colts and Bengals. I'm taking the Colts. Geek's taking the Colts. Are you betting on the Jake Browning
Bengals
masterclass
good
again?
win game.
Oh man, he's back on the Bengal good win game train. We'd love to see it. Bucks Falcons. I'm taking the Bucks. Geek's taking the Bucks.
I'll take the Bucks.
Miller's also taking the Bucks. Perfect. Jags Browns. I am taking the Jags, and Geek is taking the Browns.
I will be taking the Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Perfect. Lions Bears. I'm taking the Lions. Geek's taking the Lions, and Miller, you're taking the Bears.
Da Bears.
Bears. Seahawks Niners. I am taking the Seahawks to split the series. Going a little wild cardish here. I'm taking the Seahawks, and Geek's taking the Niners.
Well, give me the best team in football.
Seahawks. Okay, perfect. Moving on.
No, you liberal.
You liberal, don't do that.
That's what the liberal media wants you to believe.
I really wanted to pick against the Vikings. They are playing the Raiders, but I fear that Brian Flores will destroy Aiden O'Connell. So give me the Vikings.
Plus, they're getting Justin Jefferson back this week, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Geek's taking
the Vikings are going to win.
Yes.
Would love to be wrong, but
would love to
I
be.
will not
Yeah, I'll accept being wrong. Broncos Chargers. I took the Broncos. Geek took the Broncos.
Give me the Chargers.
Big Justin Herbert guy. Big
Khalil
one.
Mack, 16 sacks.
There you go. Heard it here first. Bills
in
Chiefs.
this game.
Bills
Chiefs.
Me and Geek are both taking Kansas City, but I think after what Buffalo did to Philly, I could definitely see them winning this one.
I'm taking Buffalo.
Buffalo's
coming off a bye week. They
True.
just held their own against Philly. Mm-hmm. And the Chiefs, as I already said, are being harder and harder to take seriously.
Stinky doo-doo water sometimes. Eagles Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I'm taking the Eagles.
What's Geek got?
Let me check. I don't have his written down for this game for some reason. He has the Cowboys.
Yeah, give me them boys.
Okay. 2 Monday Night Football games. We have the Packers and the Giants to start off. I'm taking the Packers. Geek's taking the Packers. Go ahead, Miller. Go ahead,
Fucking give
Miller.
me Tommy DeVito, dude.
Okay. Miller could be right.
Give me Tommy DeVito.
And then we have Titans Dolphins. I think we're gonna sweep this one. I'm taking the Fins. Geek's taking the Fins.
Miami.
Taking the Fins. All right. Well, that is our show. We want to thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Run the North podcast. Be sure to do whatever you can to help grow the podcast. Go follow us on all of our social media platforms: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Run the North Pod everywhere. Be sure to give us a rate and a review on Spotify so you can help out the show on that platform or wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts now. That's exciting. So we're on Apple Podcasts. If you listen to Apple Podcasts exclusively for some weird reason, we're on there. Go listen to us there. Yeah, again, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
I'm keeping that.